Here in New York, graduation rates have crept up slightly to around 50%. But given the collective public and private resources that we have, we can do better. Now, what's the consequence? There was a 2006 Manhattan Institute study that stated that dropouts are likely to be unemployed, likely to be in poor health, likely to raise children in poverty, likely to be single parents raising children that are likely to drop out. And they will earn $1 million less over the course of their lifetime than a college graduate. Our greatest achievement can be being able to celebrate achievement off the playing surface as much as we do on the playing surface, be it in the classroom or in the community. I recently visited Nike to speak to their global basketball marketing and sales group. And walking around that campus, I was floored by the remarkable monuments to achievements on the court. But I was puzzled by the fact that this company that fashions itself as a company that sells lifestyle, not just shoes or apparel, they haven't caught on to the fact that they can stand as a beacon in the fog. They can stand for someone who points their young consumers towards achievement. The Just Do It crew can be part of the solution by selling achievement in school as being cool. Now, in 1954, there were fewer distractions. We know that in striving towards what is real. Today, we have a situation where a young man like Brandon Jennings, how many of you heard about Brandon Jennings? Brandon Jennings, a high school phenom who was either undereducated in high school or didn't give a whit about achieving even the minimum in classroom, could not even meet the national clearinghouse standards to gain admission to the University of Arizona. The result? Here comes Sonny Vaccaro. He's a promoter with a Teflon gall, as I say. He exploits Jennings as a tool to thumb Vaccaro's nose at the NCAA. He doesn't like that. And also the NBA's so-called one-and-done rule. He gets Jennings a contract to play in Italy. They even persuaded Under Armour to write a check for a shoe and apparel deal. But in the bigger picture, they set up a proposition with the devil for others to try to follow, and I don't agree with it one bit. And that proposition is this: I don't have to achieve in school. I can still play overseas. I can still get a shoe deal. What a great life. Now, I don't necessarily begrudge this young man, although unlike others, I wouldn't call him a pioneer or even a hero. He may just be good enough to get by. He even, though he might benefit from education and exposure to a university community that's going to help him for years after the cheering stops, he even may have what it takes to be a pro. No, it's not Brandon Jennings that I worry about. I worry about the tens or even hundreds of thousands of kids who believe they're as good as Brandon Jennings when they're not. They'll follow the same track, maybe waste their time in high school believing that they too can ignore high school, play overseas, and still make a large amount of money from a shoe deal. This is what those of us who see the future of our nation, the future of our young men, threatened. This is what we're up against. Those who would promote this nonsense, they're not for all the kids who might try to emulate this path and ultimately fail. Those who promote this path don't even care about the future of the once-in-a-generation prodigies that they might represent, are greatly reduced. The promoters, they don't care about who fails and the consequential damages. They just care about themselves. You know, those of us who are Christian have probably heard this, whether in Catholic school or whatever. Rather than fixing themselves and helping others, these kinds of folks would rather fix others and then help themselves. Now, some might say to themselves, sure, this is sad, I know, but these kids are only hurting themselves. Well, to you, I say think again. Because according to studies, if we just cut the dropout problem, just cut it in half, the economic impact is staggering on the plus side. Cut the number in half, and we realize an extra $45 billion. Yep, $45 billion in extra tax revenue, in reduced health costs, in reduced crime and incarceration, in reduced welfare payments. Our national economic picture is blindingly blurred. How much more economic and financial clarity would $45 billion provide right now? Think about it. If there's a solution to the dropout tragedy, it begins with maintaining and supporting extracurricular activities, especially sports for middle schools and high school students. It could be school-based, like a program that I'm involved with, Academics in Motion, a program that's had tremendous success in the New York City public schools, using basketball and mentors to improve grades and increase chances for college for a considerable number of boys and girls. It could also be something like the Boys Club that serves thousands of boys with programs in sports, math, science, and the arts. Extracurricular activities hold student attention. They make school more relevant, and they offer a view and a path out of disadvantaged situations. Improved grades, improved self-awareness, lower truancy rates, and self-respect are among the results. There was a time when high school athletes were considered the school leaders because of their values, because of their character, because of conscientiousness. And that still may be true. But in many schools, we're faced with what people are calling the jock identity, that's punctuated by a vision of dominant masculinity, a toughness devoid of civility or sensitivity. It's punctuated by violence and recklessness and the objectification and subordination of women. There's also the increased use of alcohol and other substances, as well as sexually risky behavior, especially among young athletes of color. The jock identity has been linked to lower academic outcomes and increased school misconduct. Now, also, all too often, athletes in disadvantaged communities attend academically inferior schools. We know that, where even under No Child Left Behind, there is no adequate yearly progress as mandated by law. There are a few tutoring programs that will help athletes pass the compulsory state examinations necessary for graduation, but there aren't enough. If athletes were to reassume their role as leaders and still have the increased opportunities to succeed and the potential for positive impact on their non-athlete peers and on their communities, the current definition of the jock identity must give way to what it used to be. Now, coaches, I don't have to tell you this. You guys know you have tremendous impact on young people who come into your programs. When a parent or caregiver turns over their son or daughter to you, they expect you to be a surrogate parent. That means guidance, mentorship, and leadership. It's the coach who oftentimes has a better chance of pushing motivational buttons that spur the positive behaviors we'd like our athletes to exhibit. Coaches are a major influence on how students live life and how they view themselves. They have a great deal to do with an athlete's self-image. Thus, coaches need to understand this power over the lives of young people and develop tools that send positive messages regarding conduct. Now, by supporting the McGuire Foundation, those of you who aren't coaches, we are encouraging the strive towards greatness in coaching because we need all those things that I spoke of. The foundation rewards coaches for the contribution made to enrich and equip young people. Coaching success must be judged in large part by the success of their athletes after they've moved on to bigger and better things. And we've heard many of the coaches talk about the people who've left their program. That's why these coaches are being honored, because the people that have left their program have gone on to become successes. Now, yes, we are at the dawn of a new era where, through the symbolism of Obama's election, most of our nation has turned the corner on prejudices and stereotypes. As a nation of one people, Americans, we also seem to have consolidated on issues that matter most to our national interests and that applies to all of us as one nation under God. Now, way back in 1954, Mr. Walker had it right. So today I'm asking all of you to take stock and somehow find a way to make a difference in the lives of all of our young people. They are our foundation. They are our future. And there's a role for each and every one of us to play. So with that, let me say I'd like to once again congratulate all of our coaches. Hopefully something within what I said resonates, and it will spur us towards action. But one of the things that we need to do is take a look at these men and recognize what they've been able to do and understand that we might be able to do just a little bit of what they've done. And if we can do that, then we're all the better for it. God bless you all, and thank you.